President Rodrigo Duterte admits his daughter, Davao City Mayor Sara, maneuvered the removal of former House Speaker Pantaloon Alvarez. Meanwhile, the president says he does not want political dynasty, but he cannot do away with it in Davao City. Rosalicos will tell us why.
President Rodrigo Duterte became candid on how former Speaker Pantaloon Alvarez lost his speakership to former President and now Pampanga Representative Gloria Arroyo. He admitted that his daughter, Davao City Mayor Sara, can oust a House Speaker aside from mauling a sheriff in Davao. The president made the statement when he led a 44th Philippine Business Conference and Expo late this afternoon. He said that his daughter did it out of anger because of what Alvarez allegedly said against her and Father Rodi. It could be remembered that Alvarez lost his speakership just few hours before the third State of the Nation address of President Duterte on July 23.
Be careful with that woman. She can oust even a speaker. She operated in Davao. Babae ito ha. She operated in Davao as mayor. Tira mo nangyari sa Congress. O di, natanggal si... For one simple, maybe, si Bebot naman, he's a close friend of mine. I will support him. Oh, I can also impeach him, referring to me. Para sa atin, wala yan. Mali wala yung politiko. Bakit mo ako impeach, gago? Kung kaibigan tayo. That's the usual answer.
The president reiterated he has nothing to do with a change in the House leadership and also said his daughter Inday apologized to him after that incident. Meanwhile, the president said he does not want political dynasty, but he cannot do away with it because he does not want Davao City to go in shambles. For the 2019 midterm elections, Sara will run again as mayor of Davao City, while her youngest brother Sebastian Baste will run for vice mayor. The eldest son, Paulo Pulong, meanwhile is seeking the Davao City 1st congressional seat.
Air Force. At saka magtanong ka, punta kayo ng Davao. You conduct a survey. Itong mga interesado na dynasty, di pumunta kayo na sa tao. Tanungin mo ang tao dito, tanungin mo. Still the political families. Because sabihin ng mga barangay captain, ayaw namin yan. Na hindi na magkakampanya yan kung ayaw nila. At saka usually, pag naumpisahan ng isa, tuloy-tuloy na yan. Kasi hingiin ng mga tao na yan.
Rosalicos, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
The local government of Malay has revoked the mayor's permit issued to a water concessionaire in Boracay due to lacking requirements. Vincent Arboleda will tell us why.
The local government of Malay issued a notice of revocation of a mayor's permit to Boracay Island Water Company or BIWC last Friday, October 12. This is because the BIWC has yet to complete the requirements asked by the local government for a water concessionaire that supplies water to Boracay. The notice of revocation issued by the Malay LGU to BIWC states that the latter has not yet submitted their environmental sanitation clearance or ESC. The ESC is an important requirement for water concessionaires in Boracay like Boracay Water, as it is a proof that their sewage treatment plant or STP are functioning well and that sludge materials from the STP are properly disposed. The Department of Health is the agency that takes charge of issuing the ESC. In a statement posted on their Facebook page, the BIWC said the company is on the process of getting the ESC. It also stated that the BIWC assures that they will be able to get the ESC before the scheduled reopening of the island on October 26. Meanwhile, Malay LGU Executive Assistant Rowan Aguirre clarified that there already exists an oath of undertaking between the BIWC and the Malay LGU that is in effect until December 3.
Nagbigay sila ng parang undertaking, no, na within the period they will be able to get the proper certificates or permits, no.
Through the said oath of undertaking, the BIWC may operate while the company is in the process of getting their environmental sanitation clearance. The island of Boracay has 2 water concessionaires that supply water to all establishments and houses in the island. These water concessionaires are also in charge of sewerage treatment or treating the wastewater coming from establishments before it is released to the sea. Vincent Arboleda, UNTV News and Rescue, Boracay.
The Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board has approved an increase in minimum fare for both public utility jeepneys and buses effective on November. John Nano tells us why.
Beginning next month, commuters will have to shell out more money for fare after the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board approved the petition of transport groups to hike the minimum fare. Based on the official order issued by the LTFRB, jeepneys will implement a 2 peso hike, bringing the minimum fare to 10 pesos. The fare increase covers jeepneys plying the streets of Metro Manila, Central Luzon, and Calabarzon region. The board, however, denied the request of jeepney operators to charge an additional 1 peso on the succeeding kilometer. LTFRB Chairman Martin Delgra explains that the 2 peso increase is enough for the drivers and operators to cope up with the surging fuel prices.
We have denied it. Sobra na rin sa paningin namin. And pati na rin po yung 2 pesos na dagdag doon sa original 2 pesos na hinihingi.
The LTFRB also allowed provincial and city buses to hike its minimum fare by 1 peso. This means that the previous 10 peso fare in ordinary buses will become 11 pesos, while the 12 peso charge among air-conditioned buses will increase to 13 pesos. An additional 15 centavos will be charged for every succeeding kilometer. The new minimum fare will take effect first week of November. Public transport drivers have expressed satisfaction over the agency's decision, but commuters have said otherwise.
Mas maganda yun kasi taas ng taas din na yung diesel eh. Halos 50 na eh. Sa 9 pesos talaga medyo hirap na kami.
Makakatulong na rin yun. Dapat mga 11 yan o kaya 12. Ay magkano na ang diesel ngayon? 45.
Malaking problema sa amin yan, kagaya namin nagtatrabaho, pumapasok araw-araw, sa papaaral, hindi naman sapat ng sahod namin. Malaking kawalan sa amin yung dagdag na yun.
Mabigat po yun kasi wala pa pong itinaas na dagdag sahod, nagtaas na po ng pamasahe sa jeep.
The LTFRB is preparing new fare matrices to be posted in PUJs and buses as fare guide for commuters. Joan Nano, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Judge Andres Soriano of the Makati Regional Trial Court Branch 148 is on his last stage of work before issuing his decision on the DOJ's request to arrest Senator Antonio Trillanes IV. Mai Bermudez tells us why.
It has been more than a month after the Department of Justice sought for an arrest warrant and whole departure order against Senator Antonio Trillanes IV. This was after President Rodrigo Duterte issued a proclamation on September 4, which nullified the amnesty given to the legislator. But until now, the court has yet to decide on the matter. Almost 2 weeks have already passed since Judge Andres Soriano conducted a clarificatory hearing which gave both camps a chance to present evidence and witnesses to prove their claims. After visiting the judge's office, Makati Police Chief Senior Superintendent Rogelio Simon shared that Soriano is on his last leg of decision-making. It is also a clear indication that Trillanes' case is his priority as he skipped a judge's forum just to resolve the government's motion.
According to him, priority niya yung matapos yan kasi hindi na nga siya nag-attend ng convention nila ng judges sa Tagaytay today. So all the judges nag-attend sa Tagaytay, they are now in Tagaytay attending the convention. But for him, he preferred to finish his assignment.
Authorities will then be notified 2 to 3 hours before a decision will be released. But Senior Superintendent Simon said the week may end without having the judgment.
For this week, I doubt no. Hindi. Kasi masikip na rin yung araw natin. And tomorrow, kung sakali may lumabas, tomorrow is Friday at alam naman natin the Senate is closed on Friday.
The Justice Department earlier denied that they are putting pressure on Judge Soriano to vote in their favor. Mai Bermudez, UNTV News and Rescue, Makati City.
President Rodrigo Duterte signs a deal with an Israeli firm allowing the exploration for oil and gas resources in an area in east of Palawan. Here's why from Rosalie Cos.
The Philippines has signed an oil and petroleum exploration agreement with Israeli firm Ratio Petroleum Limited Company in line with the government's effort to bolster the country's energy security and sustainability. The Department of Energy initiated the ceremonial signing of the Petroleum Service Contract or PSC covering Area 4 of the East Palawan Basin under the 5th Philippine Energy Contracting Round of the DOE. President Rodrigo Duterte signed the PSC in Malacanang on Wednesday on behalf of the Philippine government, while Itay Rafael Tabibsada, President and CEO, signed for the Israeli firm Ratio Petroleum Limited Company. The PSC is the first petroleum service contract signed under the Duterte administration.
If you remember, the President made statements that our country needs to attain energy security and sustainability at the soonest possible time. Ang nagiging problema natin kasi wala naman tayong oil, kaya hirap na hirap tayo if we are compared to other countries na meron.
Under the contract, Ratio Petroleum Limited Company would be able to conduct exploration activities in about 416,000 hectares of the East Palawan Basin for potential energy resources for a period of 7 years. The 5th Philippine Energy Contracting Round was launched in May 2014 for a transparent and competitive system of awarding service or operating contracts for potential petroleum and coal areas in the country. The projected amount of the expenditure is $34.35 million for the data gathering and drilling activities over the initial 7-year contract. Malacanang assures the legality of the deal signed between the Philippines and the Israeli firm.
We feel that the Constitution does not prohibit this particular kind of agreements.
Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue.
The government warns traders, millers, and retailers to follow the suggested retail prices for rice set to be implemented next week. Asher Kadapan Jr. explains why.
The Departments of Agriculture and Trade and Industry will implement suggested retail prices for rice beginning October 23. Stakeholders including traders, millers, farmers, and retailers agreed on the SRP aimed at unifying the price of rice in the market. Imported rice with 25% broken grains should be sold at 37 pesos per kilogram or less, while the SRP for those with 5% broken grains is 40 pesos a kilogram or less. The SRP for locally produced regular milled rice is 39 pesos and below per kilogram and 44 pesos for well-milled. The price for the premium rice is still under negotiation, while no SRP will be set for special rice. Agriculture Secretary Manny Piñol says imported rice should also be labeled according to its country of origin, such as Vietnam and Thailand, as well as Philippines if it was locally harvested. The tagging of rice as Sinandoming, Dinorado, Super Angelica, or Yummy rice will also be prohibited because there is no such variety of rice, according to Piñol.
There's no order in the market. Everybody is selling fake Dinorado. People are claiming Sinandoming na wala namang rice variety ganon. Walang uniformity yung market. Sa kabila 60, dito sa kabila 40.
A group of grain retailers backs the measure.
Dumadaing po mahihirap na masyadong mahal kaya kailangan talaga magkaroon ng SRP.
Meanwhile, moving the suggested retail prices for chicken and pork are also being eyed by the agency. Producers have suggested 50 pesos on top of the farm gate price of chicken, while 70 pesos for pork. This means that if the farm gate price of pork is 130 pesos, its SRP would be 200 pesos per kilogram.
We have talked about this SRP for more than siguro 5 or 10 years na. So at least today, may konting linaw. Although it will be set exactly kung magkano.
The government warns to file charges and impose penalties under the Price Act against those who will violate the measure. Asher Kadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The Metropolitan Waterworks and Sewerage System is planning to suspend the looming water rate hike pending an arbitration case. Here's why from Mon Hokson.
The Manila Waterworks and Sewerage System is likely to postpone the impending water rate hike due to the arbitration case filed by Maynilad against the agency. Last week, the MWSS received a dispute notice questioning the regulatory board's decision to exclude the corporate income tax from the approved water rate hike. According to the MWSS Chief Regulator Patrick T, this is not possible.
Hindi po pwede i-pass on ang income tax sa publiko. Dahil ito po ay hindi kasama sa business tax. Ayon sa concession agreement, only business tax is recoverable. So hindi po kasama ang income tax sa business tax.
The pending arbitration case, according to MWSS, is the reason why the Water Regulatory Board is contemplating on a suspension of the water rate hike supposedly set next week. The agency says they will do their best to defer a potential increase in water rate charges. So far, it is only Maynilad that has filed an arbitration case. The MWSS warns that they will also suspend the implementation of water rate hike by Manila Water if the latter will file a similar arbitration case. Meanwhile, consumers need not worry because the MWSS assured to order the two water concessionaires to return the excess in collection once the water rate hike takes effect. Based on the approved request, Maynilad will collect an additional 5 pesos and 73 centavos per cubic meter, while Manila Water will collect an additional 6 pesos and 22 centavos per cubic meter starting next week. The MWSS divided the amount into 4 tranches to be collected over the next 4 years. For its part, Maynilad said in a statement that filing the arbitration case is just appropriate, insisting their right to recover the corporate income tax. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The National Privacy Commission orders the management of Facebook to submit a more comprehensive notification report on data breach and take accountability for the breach that has affected over 750,000 Filipino users. Facebook initially reported that its system was believed to be attacked on September 12 by hackers who exploited its View As feature by securing access tokens to user accounts without their knowledge or consent. An access token refers to a key to one's account without the need for the login, password, and two-factor authentication codes. The breach compromised the basic profile information of around 400,000 Filipino users and the more advanced personal information of over 300,000 users. The attack also exposed the timeline post, list of friends, groups, and names in recent messenger conversations of over 7,000 Filipino users. In a notice sent to NPC, Facebook said they don't foresee any more extensive harm to these accounts. But the NPC was unconvinced and ordered Facebook to provide identity theft and phishing insurance for the affected Filipino data subjects. The NPC also directed Facebook to establish a help desk for Filipinos for privacy-related matters within 6 months of receiving the order if it cannot comply with giving out insurance. Meanwhile, President Rodrigo Duterte administers the oath of office to newly appointed Foreign Affairs Secretary Teodoro Locke Jr. in a ceremony held at the Malacanang Palace on Wednesday. Locke will be taking over the Department of Foreign Affairs top post, which was vacated after his predecessor Alan Peter Cayetano filed his candidacy for a House seat in the 2019 midterm elections. Prior to his appointment, Locke served as the Philippine envoy to the United Nations. Retired Philippine Army Chief Rolando Bautista was also sworn in by Duterte as the new head of the Department of Social Welfare and Development, replacing Acting Secretary Virginia Oroga. Art collectors and enthusiasts have gathered in Taguig City during the opening of Manila Art Fair. Leslie Longbowen tells us why.
Manila Art, the longest-running visual arts fair in the country, opens this year. The fair has been championing Filipino visual arts and artists for 10 years now. Among the exhibitors this year is sculptor-painter from Mindanao, Kublai Milan.
If you look at the subjects, yung mga subjects sa Mindanao, yung mga tao doon, yung may mga brothers natin na mga Muslim, may mga lumad, the indigenous people, and then of course the Christian settlers. So they're all in one happy setting.
Meanwhile, Jerry Hocuico Sr. promotes history and culture through his featured paintings.
Malolos, yung letter ni Rizal to Malolos women. It evolves dun sa concern ni Rizal sa kalagayan ng mga anak, di ba? It's about yung concern din sa education.
Another painter, Jomar de Liuba, gave his own twist to works of international artists.
Gawa po siya ng mga master artist na inadapt ko sa style ko. Karakter ng painting ko, makulit, maldito. Lumitaw po yung sarili kong concept.
Art enthusiasts, including personalities, were well appreciative of the displayed artworks.
But it's nice to see all the variety of art. It's really beautiful. But on the whole, I love it.
If we could give a lot of support to this special arena, we're gonna show the world what great talents we have as Filipinos.
Marami tayong magagandang pieces, yung nakaka-proud na gawa ng Pinoy.
Meanwhile, Manila art organizers were glad to observe the increasing number of Filipinos who value art.
Now more than ever, artists are very upbeat and vibrant because more and more people are awakening to the value of art in our daily lives.
Manila Art 2018 runs until October 21 at SMX Aura, Taguig City. Lasilong Bowen, UNTV News and Rescue, Taguig City.